Have you ever felt overwhelmed about which map to choose for the next City Skylines gameplay? Or maybe you are new to the game and feeling a bit meh about vanilla maps in the game? I'm Ola, I've been playing City Skylines 1 for about 6 years, and today I'll be showing you my top custom maps that I've tested, played on, and loved. I will also show you how to set up the custom map correctly so it really looks flawless, as I've personally struggled with it in the past. So if you are beginning to the modding space or to the game in general, keep listening. If you are only interested in the showcase, check out the timestamps or skip to. So, in order to set up custom maps, we need to consider few crucial elements: map, map theme, LUT, and additional assets and mods. Map. This can be subscribed to on Workshop, Steam, or if you bought the game on, for example, Epic Games or other portals that don't support Steam Workshop, then you will have to search for some third-party website, which safety I'm not guarantee, but there are a few out there, so Reddit knows it all, just search over there. Map theme. Some themes are what you can choose from when starting a new game, and you have a few of them already in game. For example, temperate, boreal, or tropical. They mimic the biome of the map, can change the hue color of the map slightly, as well as textures of elements like sand, terrain, water, etc. They are important part of setting the vibe of the map. If you mix tropical and boreal, if you use tropical theme on boreal map, you will notice what I'm talking about. LUT, standing for lookup table, actually is a color correction for your map, so it changes only the visuals. The actual textures won't be changes, just the brightness, saturation, contrast, and color hue of everything that you see. You can experiment with both map theme and LUT for perfect match. Custom assets. Sometimes creators use custom assets like, for example, network, trees, or some props to make the game look more realistic. You have to check the recommended assets in the Steam Workshop and download them before, because otherwise you can end up with problems like no trees at all on the map or missing highways. In regards to mods, the absolute essential is Ultimate Eye Candy, which will allow you to choose the LUT of choice in-game. And you don't need mod for choosing LUT, you can go and change it from the game menu, but once you can change it in-game actually, it will be easier just to match it to the map. 81 tiles will allow you to unlock 81 tiles. It might be considered cheating by some, but most of the custom maps are way bigger than vanilla maps and offer you benefit of building countrysides and moving industrial zone to the outskirts of the city, so it's really worth to experiment with it. Just be mindful that it can be a bit heavier on your PC. Not essential mods, but Bob. It will allow you to override existing trees so you can match them to your liking. Sometimes creator plays vanilla trees on the maps for the sake of performance, but if you're feeling confident with your PC, you can exchange them with custom ones. Sometimes you really like the map that went with like tropical greenery, and using Bob with one click you can change it to more suitable greenery of your choice. Sometimes it's worth to use Surface Painter mod, that is an extension for Extra Landscaping Tools mod, to set up resource zones. It doesn't happen often, but sometimes creator or even in the vanilla map you can find only 2 or 3 kinds of resources, and if you really want the 4th, you can add it using this mod. I actually recommend you to download pack of LUT, like Relight 2 pack. It has few basic LUTs which vary in vibe and work for me each time, and to be honest, you are most likely don't have to download any additional LUTs if you have just Relight 2 pack. And also remember that some of the greatest maps posted on Steam are actually vanilla, so sometimes it's more important to actually switch off certain mods. Okay, so that's enough of the theory. If you want to know more about the mods I'm using, check out the description, and right now we will set up the custom map together. So this is a Tahonga map, and this is how it looks like if we just download the map and ignore the whole description and additional assets. So it's pretty disappointing, right? I've definitely made this mistake in the past several times when I expected to just download the file and have a great map, but it doesn't look like this. So first we read the description. Apart from mods and LUT I mentioned earlier and hope you downloaded, we need the entire collection which creator thankfully provided. Some trees, viaduct, we have recommended pack of LUTs, which is all cinematics, and the Albedo Dream theme, which will be our map theme. So now when we start the new game, we will change the theme right away. You can see it's already recommended by the game, and after entering the game, you see trees looks much better. Now just let's use Ultimate Eye Candy for setting up LUT. Sometimes the LUT that is recommended by the creator doesn't always work, especially if you use other visual mods like Relight or Daylight Classic. So let's play around with it. Okay, that looks neat. And now let's unlock all tiles with 81 tiles mod, and here you go. Works smoothly, looks great, and it's in general very nice map. So let's start the review. So the map that we just saw, Tahonga by Ekania. Beautiful lush map that has a tropical vibe to it. In this map, greenery definitely does the job, so make sure to check out creator's collection of assets. It's not your typical tropical map with islands on the sea, it's more of an archipelago. Landscape is multi-level but still tons of flatlands to build on, rivers and of course islands. Networks looks neat, intersections are rather simple, but I can see they are custom made. Agriculture patches add interest, and it's definitely the most funky and colorful map we are showcasing today. Map theme is the Albedo Dream, and I used Owl's Cinematics Vintage LUT. Angel Falls by Crackerjack. Angel Falls is an old map with very interesting landscape. The author says that it got its inspiration from Up movie and the landscape of Venezuela. Since there were no map theme or LUT recommendation, I used Owl's Los Angeles map theme with Relight Vintage LUT, as I thought it will match the vibe perfectly. It has tons of flat lands, so if you look for something that is easy to build on, is an inland map with interesting background, you might like it. I think it's also perfect for beginners as it's not as challenging landscape-wise. For me, it has the canyon, deserty vibe rather than tropical, even though greenery is 100% tropical. The map has all the connections and all resources. The only downsides are somewhat wacky networks which would need a little rebuild. I would also play a bit with greenery placement as palms on the bright sand look a bit off. So as you can see, it has few flaws, it's not perfect, hence it's on the back of the list, but I think because of the vast amounts of flatland and interesting background, I would still recommend it. I did not use the texture replace it mod which is recommended by creator in the description, as it's optional, and I feel like if you have a good map theme and LUT it won't be necessary and it's just an extra work. Clover Bay by Sengin. It's a beautiful Northern America, Central Europe style map. There are no recommended map themes, so I used Not So Rocky Hills map theme. There is a small collection of props, mostly network related, that should be downloaded before starting the map. I found there's satellite LUT, so I assume that's what recommended by creator and I used it. Landscape is interesting, bonus points for slick waterfronts that are ready to build on. I see a place for nice airport or interesting industrial zone, rural zones perfect for parks and low residential. It also has interesting agriculture zone that you can build upon. I remember that actually years ago I built big city on this map. Sadly I don't have save anymore to show you, but I really enjoy it. I would play with Bob to add more variety to the trees or even reduce their numbers so they won't be as heavy on your PC. Fort Lowell by GoMark. It's a boreal river valley map filled with lots of lands and water in the form of rivers and lakes. Historical details and thoughtful intersection definitely got my attention. Agriculture patches are very detailed, especially in comparison to previous map. Bonus point for working tall buff outside starting square for a tiny burst of money at the start of the game. Tons of flatland make it very beginner friendly, yet mountainside adds interest to the place. Creator recommends his own team, Northgard Boreal Team, a Relight average LUT. I use Relight 2 average for sharper colors. The map also comes with small collection of props and trees that you should download, but they are mostly generic trees and bushes. The next map I'm going to show you is a Seattle Emerald City that is created by Fen. It's pretty similar to previous one except for the fact that it's way more hilly. If you like the challenge, minimal amount of flatland, beautiful highways along the mountainside, this will be a map for you. The creator states that it's based on Washington state. It has access to sea with no islands, few nice custom-made intersections that don't look like spaghetti junctions made by AI, and I see this as a perfect map for low-rise residential sites, small countrysides spread around. Greenery is suitable for climate, water and mountains textures look realistic. I'm not sure about bright yellow agriculture surfaces, but you can always brush that away. Recommended map theme is Montebello and LUT Player Correction, although I use Relight 2 Lush as it looks more boreal Nordic that way. Creator also recommends few assets, mostly greenery and mass transit DLC. The next map is the last one that keeps that Nordic and boreal style that I enjoy, and since I love it so much, I chose to build my Harrington city on this map. And what map are we talking about? It's Old Man River, created by Bringer of Fire. It's vanilla suitable, so I personally exchanged the trees with custom ones. Lots of flatlands, amazing waterfronts, mountainous hills. For me, it has definitely the Nordic vibe. I use it with Not So Rocky Hills theme, recommended by creator, and Relight 2 Lush LUT I chose. The water system works great, no flooding except for tsunamis of course, and I use the in-game resource placement. Hydro Dam is a bonus for extra power at the beginning, and custom interchanges are always a bonus aesthetic choice. The map has only about 60k trees, which makes it run flawlessly on average PC. So check out the map and also what I turned it into. And now we are heading to the very top 3. Marble Mountains is a map created by famous City Skylines YouTuber $1.20. The creator says that it's inspired by vastness of California area and states, and to be honest, I get this vibe totally. There's a few types of landscape, mountainous, forest, beachy waterfronts, and almost deserty countryside. I used this map to create Silicon Valley inspired city, although I don't have the save anymore to share it with you. It uses Owl's Los Angeles map theme, and creator recommended Relight Average LUT, but I use Relight 2 North for less lashy effect. There is a few assets that you need to subscribe to, especially when it comes to greenery. Beautiful vast map that you can do many different styles of cities. The map is one of the biggest I've shown you today, so 81 tiles is a must-have if you want to get used to it. Highway cycling the waterfronts reminds me of Pacific Coast Highway, but also Australian or Oceania themed city can work here perfectly. Speaking of Oceania, Anahite Pass by Lowell's. That's the map I chose for my next City Skylines 1 build, which, announcement, I will be sharing from scratch in building series that is coming soon. Totally different vibe than what I usually go with, more tropical, but not too much, mountains that are not only aesthetically pleasing but low enough and not too steep so can be built on, lovely islands and few initial buildings like water pumping station to ease into gameplay. I can imagine low residential houses or villas, golf parks on mountainside, as well as expo or tourist zone on the island. It reminds me a bit of Marble Mountain, but this map is more focused on islands, which I want to try out. Bonus points for not requiring tons of extra stuffs and assets. It uses Owl's Los Angeles theme and Owl's 70s vintage from Owl's LUT pack, but I prefer Claira's corrections and that's what I used here. It has one of the most interesting starting tiles as it contains big train station. The only con is crazy amount of trees that might cause the game lag, and I will probably delete like 30% of them upon starting the game and make it more desert-like. Well, one map I did not test, but for sure will be, as I'm so tempted. White Harbour by Tahonga, the map I've built on my first ever city shared here on YouTube, Los Coco. Simple map that I leave as a number 1 because not only I spent the most hours ever on it, but also it has all the best aspects of the maps I've mentioned previously. It doesn't have any particular theme, which can act as a blank canvas. It's big and 81 tiles suitable. It has beautiful waterfronts and river, consists of what basically are big islands. Some waterfronts are already prepared for building. It has perfect amount of wetlands, highways along the coastline, few big islands, beautiful custom intersection, thoughtful location for highways. Amazing work, perfect for beginners, requires only network extension mod and one tree asset. The creator says that White Harbour has it all, and I agree. In description, author mentions natural beauty theme, but I went with concrete by Calcedonia theme and relied to Alpine LUT. But as I said, it's so flexible that you can definitely play out many different vibes here on this map. And that's all, guys. Just a disclaimer, apart from using map themes and LUTs I mentioned, all the map showcase were recorded with additional visual mods like relight, dynamic resolution, theme corrections, ultimate level of details, and so on. How the map shows on your PC may vary. How to make your game look beautiful? It's definitely a topic for another video, so be mindful of that and stay tuned. I hope this semi-tutorial, semi-showcase was of value to you. If it was, consider leaving a like so I know this type of content you enjoy. Share your comments, I'm curious if you tested any of the maps I've mentioned. So shout out to all the creators for amazing work and to you guys for staying with me. Don't forget to check the description, there is a lot of information here. Leave your thoughts below, and till the next time, bye!